channel. And so I think that probably a lot in this room typically have the ability to channel. So today I was trying to get the collective energy. I do that a lot when I'm trying to decide, first of all, what the wavelength is going to be and kind of what our overall meaning for gathering might be. And so a couple of ongoing collective topics popped in my mind, and one was something Laura and I discussed, and I think it's big in the overall collective energy, is the dynamic between the divine feminine and divine masculine, and the efforts that are going into creating balance and stability, and sometimes exploring those topics to get to the truth, right? To get to the balance that we all need. And the other that really occurred to me pretty strongly was the dynamics that females have together, the feminine energy together. And Laura and I just left a yoga retreat that dedicated a lot of time and discussion and energy, intro discussion and energy into the concept of sacred sisterhood. So really engaging with one another in a high vibe way that is respectful and on a different level from perhaps that which we were programmed to believe we needed to compete coming into this world. Maybe we thought we needed to do a lot of things in order to survive that didn't have each other's back. So I am seeing that concept a little bit in what I pulled today. So the warrior woman is the first card that I pulled, warrior woman, from the light deck. Work your light. And it says, have you answered your deepest calling? I don't know if you all have had the opportunity. I'm big into movies. I like TV and movies, and that's how the world speaks to me, and that's how whatever. So that's just me. But I did go to see Woman King over the weekend, and that's sort of the vibe I'm getting from that. It's like, you know, it's time for women to stand up and know what they need and want, and to recognize that you don't necessarily, you can be a peaceful warrior at the same time. For the sacred forest is a little bit of a different, totally different vibe deck. So the first card, I'm sorry, Laura, it's renewal, but go with it. I'm gonna roll with it, is moonlit enchantment, so magic. So as we're revisiting, some of these other topics are kind of heavy, right? Like, oh, we're gonna balance out the world's problems in our lifetime, right? Or in this month, or in this full moon, or what have you. But I think these two cards are a reminder, Frog Spirit and Moonlight Enchantment, to focus on doing so with lightheartedness, communion with nature, and magic and the divine. Yeah. And then the next card deck that I pulled from was Rumi Oracle. And it is, I pulled the Sacred Soul Sister. When you are beyond consciousness, the ecstasy of love moves your way. You know something deep in your bones. It doesn't have to make sense. It may be joy, or it may be the realization that a deep inner pain is to be released now, so that joy may arise. It may be something that's going to work out beautifully, despite appearances to the contrary. It may be that you're meant to take a certain path. You just know. So I kind of feel that one pretty deeply. I think it goes real in conjunction with the warrior woman really, really clearly. And then the lover and the beloved, and then I'll be done, Laura. I have a habit of accidentally getting a little more than I should. Okay. When you move into the unknown beyond everything, the beloved caresses you. Oh, how you've burned before, abandoned, betrayed, so painfully disappointed, cast aside, suffering at the hands of an unworthy lover. Can the great divine love affair be tarred with the same brush? Will bitter expectations keep your heart locked away behind a mean-spirited gate? Something needs to change within you so that you can receive. It may simply be you saying. So I think those really go hand in hand with maybe setting some intentions for tonight with the Reiki. So I'm curious, Laura, what did you pull? Does it kind of jive at all? What do you got?
Well, I think we should let them in on our inside joke, because not everyone knows us or was here last time. But Christina, she is a deckaholic. She taught me well. And I mean, my desk is covered with decks right now, but I'm a little more businesslike and pragmatic. So I'm like, I'm just going to pull one card and move on. And Christina tries really hard to pull one card and move on, but 3 fall out or 5 fall out. One of her first readings for me was 8 cards. She pulled, I think you pulled 18 or 21 cards for Robin on one of your, yeah, like excess is best. She's very generous and abundant is what I like to think of it. So yeah, when we try to make these like too compact, her inner spirit is like, no, I have more to say.
It
So
rebels.
that's why I was teasing her, and she was responding that she has more than just 3 cards. So let me share what I've got for you guys. So the first one is Spirit Bear. And the frequency there that's listed is 396 hertz, which is the the sound of the heartbeat. That's the sound of Mother Earth. So that frequency is something that if we hear it in music, we naturally connect to it. And this reading is about kind of moving past the guilt and fear and tapping into our mama bearness, or our bareness. Bareness, that sounded bad. Okay, our nature as being a bear. And so it says this frequency is deeply nurturing and protective, and it is the frequency, the heart frequency of the universal mother, protecting her young, deflecting negativity, and refusing to overly condition the youthful mind. So again, I think about what's happening in the world, and I think about kind of like what Christina was talking about. This morning, she and I were trading texts about the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and there being this kind of tug of war that's going on right now, because there's a lot of masculine energy, and in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with it, but without it being balanced, that's where it kind of runs off the rails. So part of the challenge is, as we bring in more of the feminine qualities, the qualities of cooperation or compassion, of intuition, of creativity, there's some pushback, because number one, those of us that have those qualities that have brought them in, the world's not used to it, so there's pushback there. And then on the other side, the people that are not expressing that side, they're not used to it themselves. So not only, and I use this term loosely, not only are the men being men and not accepting the women are like, oh, well, we're not being accepted, so we can't bring in the women's stuff. And again, the divine masculine and the divine feminine are a part of every single person on earth. So it's not just that if you're a boy, you're only going to be masculine. If you're a girl, you're only going to be feminine. If you have any doubt, just watch some RuPaul's Drag Race, because they beautifully express combining those two energies in different way. I don't know what's going on in my throat. Forgive me. I'm going to cough one more time and come right back. There we go. So when I think about this card and it being this mama bear, is what I see it as, is it's this protective energy that is trying to rise up and right some wrongs. And what's really great about these two energies is that the inner mother is actually available to any and all of us. Whether you had a great mom or you didn't have a great mom, or whether you're currently a female or currently a male, you're able to tap into that energy within yourself. And what I like to call it is my inner caregiver. And then I just kind of strip away all the constructs of feminine or masculine. But this here in the booklet, it says this inner mother's love enables us to develop our own sense of personal value, belonging, and home. In this connection with this inner mother, we feel loved, wanted, and held. And I think this speaks to, I can't remember who spoke to it, your friend that's worked with you a long time, Christina. This is speaking to self-love. So for all the naysayers that are like, oh yeah, love's going to heal the world, whatever. But just think, if we were able to tap into that energy of feeling like we belong, feeling like we're loved, if we love ourselves first and we feel really good, and we take that person to a meeting, we take that person to a conversation, if we take that person to parenting our child, that's going to be a much better interaction. And so in a little small measure, you are helping heal the world just by loving yourself and by tapping into that inner divine mother. So the next card, sorry, one more thing. So the other thing it talks about is that this frequency, as I mentioned, this is the frequency of the heartbeat of the earth, the Om, the universal Om. This frequency also helps the body to ground. It helps the mind settle into the body rather than constantly flitting around from one possibility to the next, creating excitement, but also creating excess energy. And I'm sure every single one of you at some point in your life has had monkey mind, where it seems like your mind is running away with you, whether it's excitement over an event coming up or worry over something bad that's going to happen, and it's constantly creating thoughts. But this sound, so if you go and search the frequency 396, like on Spotify, you will find music that has that embedded. And if you listen to it, it has the same effect as like putting your feet on the ground. You're able to feel calm. It helps regulate your nervous system. So that may be something that we need right now with all of this imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. The next card I pulled is from the Herbiary deck, and it is releasing rigidity. And the plant that they're showing there is valerian. And I don't know if any of you take any sleep medication, but part of the way they have formulated sleep medication is after this root, because valerian was used in ancient times to put people to sleep, like rest for the night and then like put them to sleep. You know what I mean? Like final sleep. So valerian, it has a soothing and calming property. And we all could use a little less rigidity in our life. I found the other day that I was being such a jerk about how I wanted the kitchen, that it was making me crazy. And I was the one doing it, you know, like I was like, why? Like, you've got to get over this. So sometimes we have a buildup of energy in us. And again, it could be from our outside world, it could be from our inside thoughts. And so valerian is encouraging you to release. And the picture here shows a little kitty cat. And so the reading talks about how valerian dreams of being a cat. She wants to be more feline. She wants to be more shameless about her own pleasure and being more content. And if I think about cats, I think about like all they want to do is just like lay in the sun and relax, right? They stretch, they kind of have that who cares attitude. And that's what valerian's encouraging you to do, is releasing and having a little more detachment from things, because that rigidity can create, that internal rigidity can create external rigidity as well. I know that I've been having some rigidity in my outside world and in my thoughts. And as a result, I've had a super tight shoulder. My body's like, oh, you want to be rigid? I'll show you rigid. I've had some tightness in my hip. And again, I know that it's not just coming from my body. It didn't just show up by magic. but it has some sort of connection with what's going on with my internal state. So Valerian wants only one thing from you, and that is to rest, like take an afternoon nap. And you're like, Laura, I work 50 hours a week. There's no way I can take a nap. Okay. What if you just shut your eyes after your lunch and you just took 1 minute for yourself, where you weren't looking, thinking, doing, where you just listened to your breath? So again, it's just taking pauses. It's being intentional with taking care of yourself, and it's slowly and gently moving away from that rigidity. All right, so the last card I have for you is Manifestia. Da-da-da. She looks like she's a 70s girl. She looks like she's at a really great party with maybe some special brownies. And the reading for Manifestia talks about kind of both of these concepts. So with this mama bear, or this self-love, defending oneself, tapping into that mother energy of honoring yourself and taking care of yourself, as well as releasing rigidity, Manifestia comes along and basically says, you can have it if you really want it. She says, you can decide how you want to live. And we forget what powerful creators we are. You know, we start creating thoughts in our head, and then things show up in our life. Oh my God, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. Oh, look at that. I'm late. I'm late to work. Look at that. I did it. I did it. Woohoo. We also can do the reverse, and we forget that part of our power. So Manifestia is wanting you to let go of all sense of control and direction and not manage it. You're like, but Laura, you just said I could have what I want. How do I get it? Part of it is that release. Part of it is trusting that everything's working out for you, trusting that the universe is delivering what you need when you need it. And part of that is going back to that self-love. If you're in the vibration of happiness and love, and of knowing your boundaries like a mama bear does, and of being kind of chill like a cat in the sun, things flow. Like Christina was talking about, they flow better. So one of the things that encourages you to do, Manifestia does, is to be creative with your dream visioning, and to create symbols from the letters that make up your wish sentence. And now I know that sounds a little bit like gobbledygook, but what I'm taking away from that is my words create my life. So if I am constantly speaking in the negative, the more negative I feel, and the worse everything is around me, and the worse I treat people, and then the worse they respond to me. So I'm very careful with my words. The other thing I'm very careful with is what I'm putting in my mind and what I'm seeing in my mind. And so a lot of times I like to sit down and imagine exactly how I would like things to work out. And so you can do that as a little dress rehearsal. Your mind does not know the difference between what's out here and what's in here. So this is a great little dress rehearsal to see what you would like to be. So Manifestia says that you should take a little time out, give yourself some self-love, get in that happy state, and imagine the life that you want to have. And you are able to bring it towards you with those good vibes. Well, that was a lot of words, Christina. Do you have any commentary on my commentary?
I was going to say, yeah, just relax and let whatever number of cards come out. That's the divine feminine in action. Okay, just saying. You know me. I think that's all really in line with our experience. I was thinking about, as you were talking, I was thinking about maybe the different backgrounds that are on the call now, that this may be just a reminder, and then others, this may be new information. So I would just encourage everybody to just kind of check in with, where you're at. And I think we're, law of attraction, we're all here for a reason, and we're probably all working on very similar things, maybe in different ways. And so we're meant to cross check our notes. And so, yeah. So,
and you mentioned this last time, but I would like to presence it now. So kind of like what she was saying, you're hearing a lot of different information from Christina and I, and check in with your own self, with your own heart. What's resonating and what's not? This is a giant buffet of delicious entrees, but you might be allergic to something. You might have already had some last week. So take what you like and just leave the rest.
Mhm. That's an excellent point. I think that as card readers, part of and us encouraging you to begin to, if you've not already started that journey or addiction, whichever that is, if you haven't already started that, it's just a great tool to connect with yourself, your higher self, your whatever you call the divine, your Holy Spirit. Just a moment to reflect on and receive whatever it is that you need. To you're the best teacher that you're ever going to have, right? So I was thinking about Laura's podcast. I mean, what is it? You're the oh, hold on. You are the
The
guru.
guru's you. The guru's
The guru's you. The guru's you. I mean, that it could not be better said. You're your own best teacher. And I think it's important right now, what a couple of things that have been coming up for me kind of repeatedly is to notice when I'm seeing my reflection in other people. So as we begin to work through our own triggers and our own, understand our own emotional responses in some cases, or to accept that as an opportunity and a gift, to notice when you're seeing in other people things that you may not love about yourself, to stay in your lane. And if you're noticing that you have a strong reaction to someone else's expression, then that's something that you need to reflect on and kind of think about. I've often heard, you spot it, you got it. So those are things that are kind of coming up for me a lot lately. So what does that mean? I'm telling myself, right? If I spot it, I got it. And if I'm emotionally charged by something someone else said or did, then I really need to think about what that means for me. So, and stay in my lane. Yeah. Okay.
Christina, if you don't mind, I'm going to pause the recording here.